Thank you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I'm a recovering politician. I was the state treasurer for 2 terms in Kentucky. I ran for governor. The people of Kentucky overwhelmingly decided that I would be more suited for the private sector. So I went to practice law and had a very unusual path to get to this stage today. So I'm going to share with you that path, and because it really helps set up what I'm here to talk about, which is what's going on with the legality of hemp, of CBD, of other cannabinoids. Then I'm going to touch on Delta-8 as well. I've been walking around here and there seems to be more Delta-8 than there is CBD, or there might be a nice mix of it. And I'm going to share with you what I think is going to happen in the coming months and years when it comes to its legality. So I left politics. I decided to start a bit of a writing career. I wrote for magazines like the Daily Beast and Huffington Post, and for one of them I got a whim one day to write a piece about why we should legalize marijuana. I'd never taken up the issue as a politician, but I studied it and thought it made sense. So I published it and got a call the next day from my local newspaper in Lexington, Kentucky. And they asked me if I would write an article proponent of hemp legalization. I said, sure. At that time, I didn't know the difference between hemp and marijuana, so I thought I was committing to write the same piece and that I wouldn't have to do any more work. Turns out I started studying it, found out about the rich history of hemp growth in Kentucky for centuries, and I published that piece. The agriculture commissioner at the time said, Jonathan, I'm trying to get hemp legalized in Kentucky. I could use your help. So I said, what the heck? Had nothing better to do in politics, and we lobbied and lobbied, and were able to get hemp legalized in Kentucky. So an important person took notice, and that was Mitch McConnell, who is our senior senator. Now, some background here, I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm so liberal, that's why the people of Kentucky decided they not want me to be their governor. I like to say that I disagree with Mitch McConnell on most issues. I hear Jay-Z has copied me when I say that I've got 99 problems with Mitch, but hemp ain't one. Actually, a quick digression, my board of directors just bought me a poker table. It's made of hemp. It's actually a literal hemp round table. And they put quotes from all my favorite politicians, Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And then they've got that quote from Jonathan Miller about 99 problems. But we work together because hemp is one of these issues that brings together the left and the right and everybody in the center. And we were able to get language in the 2014 Farm Bill which created hemp pilot programs. At that time, I had no idea what the initial CBD stood for. Soon heard about it as a medical marijuana product, but that was nothing that really raised my attention. And then finally was learning that folks were able to extract CBD from hemp, and it became a really boom industry. The problem was, for the federal level, we only had these pilot programs, and we needed to have full legalization. So again, working with Senator McConnell, working with folks like Ron Wyden from Oregon, another bipartisan effort, we were able to get language on the 2018 Farm Bill, which permanently legalized hemp. That was our heroic victory, and we thought we could all go home, celebrate, and get to business. Well, 2 hours after the president signed that legislation, the FDA released a statement saying, okay, Congress, we know that you support hemp. We know that you'd like to allow for the sale of hemp products like CBD, but wait a minute, we think they're illegal if to be sold in ingestible form as dietary supplements or food and beverage additives. So we had this really wonderful moment around 2 o'clock and this really depressing moment around 4 o'clock. So we went back to work. And what we've been working on, we work on a number of levels, but our top priority right now is to try to get explicit legal protection for the sale of CBD and all other hemp extracts as dietary supplements and food and beverage additives. What we saw was after the Farm Bill passed, farmers all over the country started growing the crop in leaps and bounds. There were historic numbers of crops grown. But the FDA statement put a damper, put a cloud over the industry, so that companies that were going to invest in the product decided to stay out. A lot of big box stores like your Targets and Walmarts said, we're not going to sell the stuff because we don't want the FDA coming after us. And then a lot of big food and beverage companies, the Cokes and Pepsis, Frito-Lay, Mars, Jif peanut butter, they're all studying CBD, but they decided they're not going to sell those products because they don't want to be considered illegal. So, saw a big increase in supply, a ceiling on demand, and you know what happened? The prices crashed. And we had bankruptcies all over the industry, and the people that were crushed the most were the farmers. We have stories to this day of farmers who still have a barn or a warehouse filled with hemp biomass that they can't unload from 2019. So it's been there for almost 2 years because of this regulatory uncertainty. So we've gone to work, and we've got legislation that's been introduced in the Senate and in the House that would deal with this. On the House side, we've had a bill that's been on the table since September of last year. The number is HR 841. If you have any trouble remembering that number, it's 420 times 2 plus 1. HR 841, which would legalize hemp-derived CBD and other extracts as dietary supplements. It would also impose the same regulatory scheme on CBD that you see for all other dietary supplements. So right now, it's Wild West. Tons of great products. Some products don't have what they say have in them. Other products might have harmful contaminants. This would ensure that all the products would be regulated. Folks would have to do safety studies. They'd have to use good manufacturing practices. They'd have to have truth in labeling. Everything that we want to see in a product would come out of it. The good news is we've got 27 co-sponsors in the House of Representatives. That's a big deal. 17 Democrats, 10 Republicans. I used to say that it spanned the ideological spectrum, that we had as liberal congressman as Earl Blumenauer of Oregon and as conservative congressman as Matt Gaetz from Florida, but I stopped bragging about Matt Gaetz. But it just shows you the great spectrum of folks that support this industry. We expect to have a hearing on this bill soon, but we need your help. And so I'm going to repeat this several times, but it's easy to remember. HempSupporter.com is our website. You go to our website, click on our federal resources page, and you type in your zip code, and it allows you to send emails directly to your members of Congress. We put together a draft email for you, but we want you to personalize it because they need to hear from you. They need to get on this bill, and they need to support it. We expect a hearing in a few weeks. We really need to drag that support up to get to that. Now, on the Senate side, we just had a bill introduced last month. And again, it was bipartisan. Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley from Oregon and Rand Paul from Kentucky. Again, you rarely see those folks on the same bill. But this would do two things. It would not only open up a regulatory pathway for CBD as a dietary supplement, but also as a food and beverage additive. Now, we in the industry would like to see both. The FDA is more opposed to food and beverage. We're going to fight it out. We hope to win everything, but it's possible we might only get dietary supplement now. But again, a lot of this will depend on your help. The more emails we send up to Congress, the more support we show, the better chances we have. So I'm bullish about our chances about getting the bill passed this year. We feel the momentum's on our side. The facts are on our side, and the fact is farmers are getting crushed and consumers are not protected. These bills would make sure that farmers would be protected and consumers would have products that they can trust. So that's the federal level. At the state level, we see three different things, three different issues that are being bandied about. Number one, we're trying to get CBD explicitly legalized for ingestible use in every state in the country. We already have lobbied effectively, got about 2 states with explicit protection. There are about a dozen or so where there's really no law at all, and another dozen where we've had state officials say that CBD is illegal. So we're really working on those latter states. and trying to get laws passed in them to explicitly legalize CBD. The biggest state of all is California. We've got a bill there, AB 84, which would legalize CBD both as a dietary supplement, a food and beverage additive. We've had it out there for 3 years. We've almost got it passed the last 2 years. We're feeling really confident about it. Again, if you're from California, go to hempsupporter.com and send an email to your legislators to help push it over the top. It passed the House by a vote of 80-7. So all we need to do is get it through the Senate, and we'll have legalized hemp in California. Other states we're working on include Massachusetts, North Carolina, Louisiana. These are all our more troubling states where we're trying to work it out. But you know what? The time is on our side. The facts are on our side. We're going to get this done. It's just a matter of not if, but when. CBD will be explicitly legal in all 50 states and federally at some point in the near future. And we're excited to be able to work on that. The other two issues are a little bit more on the fence. The first is CBD or hemp smokables. Some states, hemp smokables are clearly legal. Tennessee is one of those, where the state has recognized that you can tell the difference between hemp and marijuana, that even in states where marijuana is illegal, they'll allow hemp smokables. Farmers really find hemp smokables as a very profitable, high-demand product with a low entry point. Other states, real challenges. Some states have explicitly made them illegal. Texas is one of those examples. In other states, there's an if. New York is one where they'll allow for hemp smokables but only sold through dispensaries. In California, what's interesting is that AB 84 that I talked about before would legalize CBD as an adjustable product, but it would make smokables illegal. We're trying to work out a compromise. We're very hopeful to allow for hemp smokables through the dispensary chain, because the governor's office, the administration is strongly opposed to hemp smokables. However, why, if there are marijuana smokables, why can't there be hemp smokables? So we're fighting for that battle, and hopefully we'll get that kind of solution. The third issue is the one that appears to be dominating this convention, or at least as I've been walking around, and that's Delta 8. So again, I told you I didn't know what CBD was in 2014. I didn't know what Delta 8 was until this year. This has come out of nowhere apparently, although many people in the industry were aware of it. It's become one of the hottest items. A lot of farmers who have had trouble selling that hemp biomass I talked about before have now found that D8 is an outlet. The challenge is there is strong opposition in the law enforcement and health community. The law enforcement community doesn't like products being sold at retail that are intoxicating. The health community is very concerned about what's in these products. And so we've got two kind of battles going on in state legislatures, where we have some that want to completely ban D8, and then others on the other side that want to say, let's keep it going and let's keep it completely legal as hemp. The position of the U.S. Hemp Roundtable is in the middle. We believe that products that are intoxicating should not be sold as hemp. That hemp is by nature a non-intoxicating product and available to people of all ages, that can be sold as a dietary supplement or a food and beverage additive. Intoxicating products should be sold like adult use cannabis. In some states, dispensaries, other states have 21 and other under regulations, but we believe that D8, when its intoxicating level, should be sold that way. We're not going to really see much resolution this year, and that's because the D8 publicity came up after most legislatures went home. So most legislatures in the states go home around April or May. There was a big New York Times article right around then. But you see in the states where the legislatures are in session that there are a lot of efforts to go after D8. There was an attempt to ban it in Texas. It failed. There is an effort in California that would treat it the way I mentioned, where you could buy it through dispensaries but not in retail stores. But I think in the beginning of next year, you're going to see that battle. One of the biggest challenges we have as an industry is that a lot of legislatures don't know what they're talking about when they write statutes. And so we will see a bill introduced which they're trying to crack down on D8, and they use wording so that it would make CBD illegal. So this is something that we've got lobbyists in 24 states where we're working to make sure that there won't be those kinds of consequences. Before I take questions, I do want to add something that I want to encourage you to check out, and that is our sister organization, which is the U.S. Hemp Authority. Now, the U.S. Hemp Authority was established by the U.S. Hemp Roundtable and spun off as an independent group as a way to promote high standards and best practices as an industry. This was very important for us because every agriculture commodity has a self-regulating organization. But for us it was more important because of all the attention from regulators and law enforcement because of hemp's connection to marijuana. So about 3 years ago we set up the U.S. Hemp Authority. It's gone through 3 different periods of public comment where we've put together a policy of standards. It's now 3.0, that if companies meet those standards through an independent audit by a third-party group, they can then put a seal of certification on their product that indicates to the public that this is a product you can trust. It's gone through the good manufacturing practices. It meets with legal THC requirements. It also assures law enforcement and regulators that this is a legal product that they don't have to seize from shelves. I want to introduce you to somebody, Marcia Moll, who's sitting in the back. Marcia, you wave. Marcia is with Food Chain ID. They are our third-party administrator. And if you get a chance, if it's something that interests you, please see Marcia after this talk because it's a really great opportunity for you to take your brand to a new level, to let your consumers know that your product is something that they can trust, given the extreme amount of different products in the industry. So the future is very bright. We do think that we will see progress at the federal and state level. We're working on a number of other issues in the coming year. We'd like to get rid of the convicted felon ban. Right now, if you've been convicted of a drug felony in the past 10 years, you can't get a hemp license. We believe that that's unfair. And with the whole criminal justice reform movement, we think we can get that reversed. We're working to help ease burdens on farmers, trying to make sure that hemp extract, when it's transported across state lines, does not have to be diluted down to below 0.3% THC because it's not, as long as it's not sold at levels above intoxicating. And we're working on a lot of other sustainability policies. Sustainability is something that we are very proud of as an industry. Hemp, as many of you know, is biodegradable, it's sustainable, it helps reduce carbon in the soil, and we think that we can work with the Biden administration as full partners on getting hemp really established as a sustainable agricultural commodity. Finally, a very important effort of ours is we have a minority empowerment committee that is focused on promoting our mission of justice and equity. For too long, minority groups, farmers of color, have been disadvantaged in the greater cannabis industry. More have gone to jail disproportionately. Others have, black farmers have had real challenges getting equity and access to grants and loans at USDA. We are working to change that, and we were trying to really lift up voices so that we do have greater equity and diversity in the industry. I'm going to stop there. I've said a lot. I want to see if you all have questions. We've got a microphone here, and please fire away.
Yes, sir. I'm David Singletary from Mississippi. I got a hemp grower's license, 50-acre hemp land. And the thing that upsets me the most is how the hemp people think they're more self-righteous than the legalized marijuana people. And you can't just get along with these politicians no more. We need to get their ass out of office. We need to get some 420 people in office instead of worry about kissing their ass all the time. Not for term limits. And you got to start at the political level. Like you say, you go up there and lobby them. But do your words fall on deaf ears, or do your words do any good? And I say get them out of office, and they've been up in there over 40 years. And I say let's legalize the whole plant. And I say let's raise the definition of hemp up to 8% THC so I can grow a good strain of CBD hemp.
Well, you make some good points, and it's up to you. We all like to make fun of politicians, and I was term limited by the voters, and I agree that we need to have term limits, but they do listen. They do care about what the public says, because you're going to vote them out of office if they don't act. I don't know what the latest polls say, but about 70 to 80% of Americans believe that the entire plant should be legal, and yet Congress has not taken that step yet, because Congress, a small group, a minority of Congress has held that up. There is a bill that's going to be introduced in the Senate any day now by Chuck Schumer, Ron Wyden, and Cory Booker, which would legalize marijuana. Once it's introduced, I again encourage you to get in touch with your members of Congress to let them know how you feel. A similar bill has already passed the House. It will pass the House again. The challenge is getting 60 votes in the Senate. And so we've got to work together to make sure. If that bill passes, it also has our hemp language that I was talking about. So really, your efforts at getting the word out to your members of Congress do make a difference.
Yes, my name is Curtis. We have a hemp farm in Georgia.
I'm having a hard time here.
Yeah, my name is Curtis. We have a hemp farm here in Georgia. My question is you guys looking to come in with some kind of manufacturing plant to take all the product that the farmers grow and process it?
Could you say that again? I'm sorry.
Do you plan to bring in some kind of manufacturing plant to take the product from the hemp farmer and process it for us to make a profit?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, so right now we've got a very vibrant hemp extract industry. We're only going to really truly serve the farmer if we have a vibrant hemp fiber industry. And what's missing in this country is processing and manufacturing, both the demand side as well as the processing of hemp fiber. Once we have that, can't even bar the door. We're going to have extraordinary opportunities for farmers. And so what we're working on with Congress and with the USDA right now is to try to develop substantial relief using some of these coronavirus funds to develop a hemp processing and hemp fiber processing, hemp demand industry. We're working with some of the big clothing manufacturers, working with horse bedding folks, and working with the car industry to develop that demand. I think we're a couple years away, but if we're able to get in a good-sized investment from the administration, I think that's when we'll see that kind of processing and that kind of demand pop up. And our hook is sustainability, because we're able to argue that unlike other agricultural commodities, we reduce carbon in the soil, we use a lot less water than, for example, cotton does, and our products are biodegradable and sustainable. So working with those who are fighting climate change, who might not know anything about agriculture or anything about hemp or farming, but they care about reducing emissions, we're going to be working with them to try to come up with an alliance to really help the hemp industry. So we need your help. So if this is an issue that you care about, again, please let your members of Congress know, because it's important.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, greetings. My name is Lance Robinson. I am an elected official, by the way, and I am listening today. I'm also a hemp business, vertical integrated business. My question is on the Delta 8. In reference to the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, I want to make sure I heard you correctly in reference to my advice. In reference, if you're selling Delta 8, and if you have something like a sign that says you have to be over the age of 21, is that one of the something that is acceptable in reference to the Hemp Roundtable, and saying you can? Is it okay? Because I'm at a crossroads right now if I'm going to carry that product out.
Right. So we're not the police, and what matters is what law enforcement thinks. I do think right now that folks that are selling D8 are taking a risk. I don't think the laws are going to change anytime in 2021, except maybe in a couple states. And so you've got this period where a lot can happen. I do think at the beginning of next year, you'll start seeing laws change. And in some states, there will be complete bans. In other states, they'll do what the Hemp Roundtable recommends, which is to allow it through adult use cannabis circles. And in other states, it'll be a free-for-all. So when you're in that business, it's something to really take into mind in terms of, do I want to invest in this? My personal legal clients, I tell them to be very careful, because 6 months from now, what they're selling might be illegal federally or in a number of states. But some folks think, hey, I've got this window here, I've got all this biomass, I'm going to sell it while I've got this opportunity. So it really is a business decision.
All right, this is our last question of the day. Please stand up.
Jonathan, thank you very much for being here. We came just a few minutes late, so please pardon me if we missed the answer to the question. What are the main concerns with legalizing CBD at the federal level? Why is there so much discord? Well, we've got medical marijuana in a good chunk of states, and we have CBD usage that is already a major industry. What is the problem? We know government can be laser focused on issues that they really have an agenda behind. So with the approval of a Pedialex, I believe is the name of the drug for epilepsy, FDA approved drug with CBD as a main ingredient, why not open it up so that it is broadly something that is legalized?
Yeah, great question, great question. If you didn't hear it, why is CBD not completely legal right now? What's the holdup? And she referred to Epidiolex, which is the one drug application for CBD. And there is a law that I didn't know about until I got involved in this. Most people don't know about. But it says that if a drug is being has had substantial tests and is being investigated to be for approval at the FDA, and then it's approved, you cannot sell that same compound as a dietary supplement or food additive. And the FDA has said, okay, GW Pharma started investigating this CBD thing several years ago. They've gotten approval. We can't find any of these products marketed before GW Pharma started investigating, so we are saying CBD is illegal. Now, we as an industry disagree with that. We believe CBD had been sold for decades before that, and that the FDA is just plain wrong. And also understand, even though the FDA says this, they've done nothing about it. The only warning letters they send out are to companies that make outrageous medical claims, like CBD is going to cure cancer, or CBD is going to cure COVID. So we've got this real gray area where they say it's illegal, but go ahead and do it. And then we say, okay, well, why don't you use an exception that's under your authority to make an exception to this? And they say, well, we haven't had enough tests of this. We're worried about its safety. And they point to a study in Epidiolex that if you take these huge amounts of over 1,000 milligrams of CBD, you might have some liver toxicity issues, so we're worried about it. Well, every study that's come out since then has demonstrated that CBD is safe when you take it in the quantities like 50 or 60 or 70 milligrams that most people take it in. England and Australia have said it's safe, and they said, okay, it's legal, you can sell it. It's got to be under 70 milligrams of CBD, but you can sell it through a regulated market. 25 states have said it's safe. New York has done the most complex analysis and said, okay, we're only going to let you sell food and beverages with 25 milligrams or less, something that is reasonable that we agree with. But the FDA still has not gotten off their tail. Now, I'll give them a little slack. They had this thing called COVID for the last 18 months, but they're a big agency, and the problem has been, I believe, just one of lack of attention. Another issue, they don't have a commissioner right now. Joe Biden has not appointed somebody to be FDA commissioner. There's going to be some time before that happens. So we've run out of time. Farmers are getting crushed. And the real health and safety problem is not the danger of CBD. The real health and safety problem are these fly-by-night CBD companies that are making CBD in their bathtubs that might have a little too much lead in them, that say they're going to cure cancer or not. That's the problem. And that's why we need to have regulation. I am very, very optimistic that we're going to get this passed by Congress. I'm hopeful it's this year. But again, when I go lobby on Capitol Hill or when I go lobby in the states, I don't have anybody saying, no, don't do it. I have people saying, well, the FDA has been hesitant, but then I explain to them the details and they get to be supportive. So it's up to me on Capitol Hill, but really it's up to you guys to help me. Go to hempsupporter.com, contact your congressman, your congresswoman, your state legislators, and together we'll make sure it's all legal. Thank you all.